Hey gang, wait just a minute for folks to get in here. Moving some stuff around so I can see you guys. Hey gang, just waiting for a few more folks to get in here. I think a lot of people were confused because I forgot the link on some of the posts. Oh my goodness, a little sexy there. Sorry about that. Can you guys hear me okay? I was worried about that. I can't find my microphone. I have a feeling it's in the belly of a Great Dane, unfortunately. I want to make sure technically we're okay, and then we're going to get started, okay? Yay. Thank you. It's not letting me see who's coming in. Uh, Hopefully I can see comments if comments are typed. I can see thumbs. I can see that. Thank you. All right. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Thanks. So I'm Candace Havens, Candy to my friends. And if you're watching me right now, you are definitely one of my friends. I've written more than 35 fiction novels and nonfiction books, as well as over 8,000 feature articles over a 30-year journalism career. I know that's a lot of feature articles, right? And those have all been published. Everything's been published. I've been with New York publishers, mid-sized publishers, small publishers, and done some independent stuff as well. So I'm also an editor for Entangled Publishing, and I edit some top names like N.J. Walters and T.O. Fallon, and a lot of really great writers. Sasha Summers has a really great book coming out in May. Megan Vernon, oh my gosh, you guys, her stories are so funny. So lots and lots of fun books that I get to edit. And I do that because I like making authors' dreams come true as well as my own. I'm still writing, still loving it all. Okay. Yay. Good. Thank you. All right. Good. Thanks, guys. I always worry about the sound because, like I said, I cannot find my microphone, and it may be in the belly of my Great Dane who loves to get things off my desk. All right. So, I am also an entertainment critic for 96.3 KSCS. I do mostly film for them, but now with everything that's going on, I'm doing a host of articles and on air pieces about television and movies and things that you can watch to keep from going crazy. All right. So I named this class, I think so is going to be my word today. I always have one. so is going to be my word. How to create when the world's gone mad. A lot of us are dealing with more stress than we ever imagined, right? You're home with your kids, or even if you're not, you're feeling lonely. It's scary to go to the grocery store. Whoever thought we would say that, right? And so I get it. And all of that piles on, especially if you let those negative thoughts go over and over and over again, which we all tend to do, especially artists and writers and people who create music. The reason why we do that, the reason why we become obsessed with those negative thoughts is we are not replacing them with positive things, right? And the easiest way to get positive about life is to create, right? To bring something new and beautiful to the world, whether that's art or writing or anything else. And so I'm going to talk about a lot of tricks of the trade, just so you guys can sort of understand my process, but also hopefully give you some great tips on how to create when your brain is like, I just want to read, that's my brain right now. It's so squirrel brain, it's ridiculous. And I actually take medications for that. I'm ADD, ADHD. And so I have to take medication when I work because I just can't focus. And right now it's worse than ever, even with the meds. So I understand. I've seen post after post, and I mentioned this in last week's class, of people who just can't seem to focus, right? So this week is more about how to create, all right? And we're talking about a big, wide range of types of creativity, whether that be music or writing or art, whatever your thing is. And I'm going to talk about different ways to create. And I hope some of those work for you. And if they do, guys, please let me know. If you did your jars last week, I would love to see some of those. Just post them on my author page. I would love, love, love to see those. Okay. All right. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch last week's video. It's everywhere and on YouTube. Okay. So we're having trouble focusing. It's hard to write for me, especially. I have a book due in about 45 days. I haven't even started yet, right? And I am the queen of being able to write wherever, whenever. It doesn't matter. I can write. I don't, I could have 5,000 people around me and still sit there and write as long as I have my headphones. Oh, I should not tilt my head down. Did y'all see that? Can we just agree, all of us, that the 2-inch root or the 4-inch root is the new hairstyle? Will that work for everyone? Because, yeah, it's getting pretty scary up there. And my hair's not that dark, so I don't understand why it's so dark. But don't lean forward, Candy. I'm that vain. Okay. So the first half of this class is for all creatives who are looking for inspiration. The second half is how to use that inspiration to plot and work through your story. But there's some tips even in that second half for all types of creators. Okay? All right. So a lot of you like to be on top of what's going on in the world, and you're not going to like this first suggestion, and it's just a suggestion, folks. Stop watching the news. Get off social media, right? It's so negative, and you cannot create with that sort of negativity coming at you all the time. Like one of my favorite authors just went off on something, and even though I agree with her, I just don't want to see it anymore, right? I've had to unfollow or, do that thing where they don't know you unfollowed them. I've had to do that a lot lately because I want to check up on my friends and make sure they're okay. But yeah, it becomes very stressful, and I can't watch the news. I get my news and like glimpses on my phone. Like, I don't do it first thing in the morning. I wait till after I've had breakfast and stuff, and I sort of skim the news, and then I put my phone away, right? Thank you, guys. I'm glad you agree with me. You need to know what's going on. You need to know how to protect yourself. I am not saying that, but I am saying watching the news 24/7 is not good for your health. It creates stress. There are all kinds of studies that will tell you this long before any of this craziness started in the outside world. All right. So I want you to do what's best for you and get off of social media, which unless you're on Instagram, I think it's okay because basically it's just photos. But some of the Facebook stuff is so negative. And this is the most horrible thing I'm ever going to say in public. So many people are in such dire straits, and they're telling you on Facebook, and you want to help them all, and you can't, and it's just killing my soul, right? Does it make me a terrible person that I can't deal with that right now? What do you guys think? Let me see. What do you guys think about that? I know there's like a 1-minute delay on this. Hey, Angela, how are you? Betsy's here. Lizzie. Hi, Priya. Hey, you guys, don't forget if you have releases or new books out to make sure. Oh, I leaned forward again. You guys are just gonna have to live with it. It's a style. It's a style, right? Um, so far, Angela, we just started on inspiration, and one of the things you can do to make yourself feel better. Yes, so stressful, right, Sharon? Stop watching the news and get off social media. It's hard. So here's how I do social media. I go to all of my family and all of my friends' pages and a couple of groups that I know won't let political stuff happen. And that's what I look at. And then I go away. Instagram, I check 2 or 3 times a day because it's mostly fun stuff and pictures of people and videos, cooking videos and things like that. But I've really had to cut down, like my phone will tell me, you spent 5 hours on the phone this week. And most of the time it's playing games, but I spend a lot of time on Instagram as well. But yeah, we have to get away from the negativity to be inspired. I'm doing good. I'm doing really good, actually, for everything that's going on. Like, I'm sad because my granddaughter turns 4 tomorrow and I can't go to her party. We're going to have a Zoom party and things like that that are just hurting my heart. But I'm trying to be positive, and that's what I'm talking about today, so that you feel inspired. So you can't feel inspired when negativity is coming at you all the time. Okay? So you got to get rid of that. And you can't get rid of your family because you're stuck with them, or lock your kids in a closet. That's against the law. Found that out the hard way. Just kidding. Just kidding. My kids like to play in the closet, to be honest. So did I when I was little. So stop with the social media. Don't look at it the last thing at night. Do not look at it first thing in the morning. Give yourself maybe an hour to do the news and to look in on your friends and then let it go. Besides, you should be spending that time creating. Okay? All right, number 2. Now, this is a little bit harder. Find what inspires you. I've talked a lot about art and that sort of thing last week, so I'm not going to focus on that. But you can't see it, and I'm going to take pictures of everything and post them in the link on this. But I'm going to take pictures of my office and the things that I see that inspire me. Straight ahead are 4 little landscapes from Paris that I got at the Galeries Lafayette. The old man painter was sitting there inside the fancy store painting these little paintings. And I got them for I think $17 a piece. And they're beautiful watercolors. Beautiful. And so I stare at those. And then just to my right, is Mary Poppins glyceals, actual, scenes from the original Mary Poppins, right? And then I have autographed music above that from the second Mary Poppins. Behind me, you can see the Andy Warhol lithograph, which is a daisy. But to the right, which you can't see, and the left, I have Paula, I'm going to mess up her last name, Callejas art, which are her goddesses, and I love them. I just got a new one called the Gemini Goddess, which I will take a picture of and send to you guys. But art actually really inspires me. And then when my French doors are open, I can look to my left and see one of the most beautiful pieces of art I have ever seen in my life. And it's called the Cathedral, and it's a forest, right? With all different things in it from Isabelle Lemay, who's a beautiful artist and just, oh my gosh, just the loveliest work. In my living room, I have Letitia is in there, and she has really cool art that inspires me. But I'm also inspired by music and things like that. I'm inspired by other people's books. I was just looking at, what's the name of that? I should have brought it over here. It's Stephen Fry's Mythos, I think is what it's called. And not that I'm going to write anything with mythology, but those stories make me think of stories, even with a mystery that I could possibly kind of twist and use, right? Like high concept ideas that, of different forces working against one another that I could actually use in a mystery, and it's mythology, right? So that's the sort of stuff I'm talking about. Music is a quick one for me. I can put on any song from my list and do that. A lot of puppy pictures, and well, you're lucky, Candy. You really are. Yeah, right. Stressed enough without the drama. Exactly. I think we all are. So. Aw, hey, Zoe, how are you? Another great book coming up. You'll have your second pass soon, I promise. I'm behind on everything. You know that. All right, so I overheard a conversation once I was going to see one of my son's Oscar performances. And Oscar, that's not right, Kenny. Opera is the right word to say. And I can't see my words that I'm saying because I don't have my glasses on. So I was going to, let me put them on and read the little stuff. Right? Okay, so going to one of my son's opera performances, stopped at a truck stop to do my mid-stop bathroom break and get my Diet Mountain Dew. At the time, I don't drink them anymore. And as I was getting in my car, I heard this woman say on the phone, she was standing outside the store, I can't go to jail again. I'm not going to lose my kids for that guy. And I was like, I wanted to ask her so bad, what is your story? Because everyone has a story, right? Everyone has a story. But I made up stories for her all the way to the hotel. And then I sat down, and one of those stories actually became one of the stories later on in one of my series. So you just never know where you're going to find inspiration. Okay, we can't go out and see people. We can't go look at art right now, Candy Havens, because we're all stuck at home, right? So a lot of the biggest museums in the world have virtual tours for you, which for me were a lot easier than actually being in some of the French museum and like the Louvre, going up and down the stairs, right? And I could stay, and I didn't have 50 people breathing on me while I was trying to look at one painting, right? I never did get close enough to the Mona Lisa. I was surprised that it was bigger. Everybody says it's so small, and it's not. It's like this big. It's not that small, but yeah, so I actually prefer looking at things that way because I can pause it, take a hard look. So I highly suggest that even if you're not into art, sometimes just looking at something like that, whether it be in a magazine or a book or a picture in a movie or a TV series, it can click something in your brain and you'll come up with new ideas, right? And maybe those ideas aren't right for your book right now, but you need to write them down in your handy dandy journal because they might be good for later on. So I have like these big ones, right, all around the house, but I also started keeping, I just bought these from Emily Lee. She also does planners. I got my pink planner. Can y'all see how cute that is? Pink and white stripes. So I got a planner that matches that as well. But I take these notebooks, and sometimes just a fresh, beautiful notebook can be enough for me to inspire me to write, right? So we're looking for inspiration and hoping that translates into some sort of creativity, right? That's what we're talking about right now if you're coming in a little late. Oh, I like that, Angela. That's a cool idea. Um, oh, Priya, I know, right? I just love looking at Paris. It's my favorite city in the world. Uh, hey, Shayna, how are you? It's good to see you. All right. I'm going to keep going, guys. So I want to know what happened to that lady. And that story ended up becoming the story in the, is it the Valentine's book? This one. So that story about that lady ended up becoming the story about a woman who lost her children to foster care because she was living out of her car. And so all the town came together to help her out and so she could be together with her kids. Oh, wait, no, that's this book. Lizzie will tell me if Lizzie's here. It was this book. But then good stuff happens here as well. And so this whole series was inspired by the same sort of thing that's going on now. It was 2 years ago, and things were very negative in my world. And if you can figure out why, good for you. I'm not going to say it live. I don't like political stuff at all, other than I just don't want to listen to any of it right now. So I was in a very negative headspace, and I had books due, and I could not write. And I'm the queen of just doing it whenever. No excuses, right? That's my thing. And so I decided to just write a little short story, just a little exercise, 20 minutes to get my head out of the negativity that I was in. So I created this town called Holiday Peak, and then I started writing stories for that town and the people, and I just loved them, and I loved spending time with them, and I really enjoyed going into that world. I mean, that's the best part about being a writer, right? Same with an artist. You're losing yourself in whatever you're doing, and you're not noticing all of this, right? So what did Lizzie say? I can see that. Yep. Thanks, Lizzie. She's posting things for me. She's so good. So I created this world where I could go anytime, and there are going to be more books in that series that later this year, just so you guys know. And I use the same sort of thing with this series. This is my newest book. It comes out Thursday, A Case for the Yarn Maker. I'm very excited. And I talked about this a little bit. Here's the first book. And then I just signed, it's official, 3 more books in this series. So I'm very excited. Thule Publishing is doing those. And they do such a great job. Don't you love that cover? I just love it. And the stories are really fun. And I told you last week, like I like the small town. I like the place where everyone's going to take care of you, even though I live in a big city and I don't even know my neighbors. Like really have no idea who any of them are. Except for Ashla. Her mom lives around the corner and she actually lives in LA now, but I know her. That's it. So anyway, I like the small town, but this one started with, I mentioned this last week, this new series with the Great Dane, because I had just lost our Harlequin Great Dane, right? Harley had just passed away from cancer, insidious disease. I hate it for so many reasons, especially right now. I had an actress's face, Rachel Boston, in my head, and I just had to tell that story. And so I did, and now look what happened. We're going to have 5 books in that series. I'm very excited. So keep your eyes and ears and nose, because sometimes smells can also, like I have, right now I'm burning a strawberry, right, candle. Strawberries for me are summer and happiness and goodness, right? I have another candle that I just moved off my desk that's called Paris, and it's smoky and smells so good and rich, lots of vanilla in there. And those can help me feel more like writing. And I have a routine that inspires me as well. I light my candle, I turn everything else off, and I sit and write, okay? All right. I don't know about you guys, but like I said, music is the fastest way for me to get going. And I'd like to hear from you guys. And like I said, there's a minute delay. So I'm going to keep going while you guys are typing, and then I'll read your comments, okay? Because I don't know why there's a minute delay, but there is. Okay. So I want to hear some of your songs that just get you going, right? That really make you feel like moving, or really inspire you to write. Like I love a lot of the female country singers like Casey Musgraves and Maren Morris and Miranda Lambert, because their songs are stories, right? But they can inspire your own stories. I cannot remember the song, but a Miranda Lambert song was the inspiration for one of my Harlequins. Like I did a whole story about a country singer, but it was, and Mixed My Love of Junk Gypsies, who are in, they're actually in this book, The Junk Gypsies in Teague Tavern in Round Top, Texas, right? I actually incorporated those guys into that book. I was inspired by those people in those places and have created stuff from a restaurant, from going to a store. I just love those guys. All right, so have you guys posted some music that really gets you going? Let me see. Oh, thank you, Crystal. I put makeup on and lipstick. Look, love you guys. Lizzie, you guys didn't post any music. What kind of music inspires you? All right, I'm going to wait and I'll read those. But music can change your mood instantly, right? Even if you don't want to listen to it while you write, it can totally help you get in the mood to write. Let's see. The Skyrim video soundtrack helps my PNR, your paranormals, right? Oh, yeah. So a lot of people, when they're writing, can't have words singing. But what I do is I listen to albums I've heard over and over and over and over again. A lot of Joss Stone, a lot of Casey Musgraves and Maren Morris, as I said. But I have a different soundtrack for every single book, and it's usually about 20 different artists that I listen to, but mostly songs. And when I edit, I can only listen to really smooth things, when I'm doing those really hard editing passes. Let's see. Old stuff. Okay, Maroon 5. 80s music, love it. I like dirty rock songs. The dirtier, the better. Go figure, Lizzie. Go figure. The X Ambassadors Band helped me get into the writing mood. I don't know who that is, Storm, but I'm going to go listen to him. Candy says, lately I've been listening to, oh, I love her, Lorena. Yeah, she is so, oh, that voice is something else. And I discover new artists all the time that I just love. You put on the 50 Shades movie soundtrack. Yeah, actually, that's a pretty good soundtrack. A lot of people use soundtracks because they cannot handle words while they're writing, right? It doesn't bother me, but it bothers a lot of people. And as long as I have my headphones on, I'm good. I cannot listen to music and write without headphones. Like I have to have the headphones on. It's a weird thing. It's funny because my dogs have learned when the headphones are on, they don't bug me, right? Sometimes I just wear them with nothing in them just so the dogs won't bug me. Let's see who else. Tammy's a newbie rider. I walk every day. Proclaimers 500 miles. Yeah. Work every day. Okay. To the Proclaimers. I love that song, 500 miles. It gets my day started. And you listen to 70s music. I love this. Betsy says Brandy Carlisle, Jason Isbell, and Chris Christopherson. All great choices. See, it's an eclectic choice of music. Maybe you'll see some here that might inspire you. But listen to music every day. Even if you're not creating, listen to music. It's the number one thing that can lift your mood the fastest. Okay? Even if it's kind of a crazy song, it's okay. Okay, I love stuff that deals with emotions, but I sing. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Sometimes I do too. All right. So moving on. One of my best tips is to try another art form. If you're a writer, take a drawing class, even if all you do is stick figures. Until last week, I had never done any sort of really kind of artwork, and I freehanded these. I showed y'all my motion jars last week, right? So I did those, and I'm doing more. I wanted to show you guys. I talked about Paula because I've got her Gemini painting over there and several of her goddesses there and there. But she has got free downloads. Look at these that you could color or paint yourself. I love them. Look at this mandala she did. So I'm going to take these and transfer them to my paint pad and paint them with my little watercolor paints. Yeah? And she has this one. They're all free downloads. And that's palcalarts.com. And we will put that in the comments as well. Okay. But try something different. You can find a lot of stuff on YouTube, classes on YouTube, and other sources that are free. I know Blueprint and Craftsy, what used to be Craftsy, have a lot of classes. I own so many knitting and crocheting classes. Do I know how to do any of it? No, but I'm going to learn this year. Like I put it on my list of things I want to know how to do, and knitting and crocheting are those. Mainly because my aunt's a great knitter and my grandma was a huge crocheter, and I just loved everything she did, and I miss those Afghans that just, my Aunt Pat still makes them that just make you feel loved. You know what I mean? Like you put it on you and you're like, somebody put their heart into this for me, and it just inspires me, right? So I want to learn how to do that so I can create those things for my grandkids. You can even color in a coloring book. Or do these downloads that my friend did. Anything to pull you out. If you're an artist and you paint, maybe you learn how to sing, even if you can't carry a tune. You know what I mean? I think everybody can learn how to write, and everybody can learn how to sing. Jolene Navarro, who is Storm's mom here, she tells me that everybody can do art. I'm not so sure about that. I'm not great, but I'm trying. I just started learning, so I'm not going to beat myself up about it. So when you're creating and you're a writer or a designer or an artist, sometimes you need a little something from the outside, okay? So I have some tips for that as well. And all of these came from my friend Sasha, okay? Sasha Summers, she's an amazing writer. She has a book out now, Jace, the Kings of Country series. I think I said that right. Is she here? Is Sasha here? Sasha, put a link. Priya put a link for yours as well. But these are archetype cards, right? And so even though they're about characters, let me see. I'm just going to pull one out. Okay, so here's one of the cards from this archetype box. So, Father, light attributes, talent for creating and supporting life, positive guiding light with a tribal unit. The shadow attributes are dictatorial, control, abuse, authority. So if you're having trouble figuring out a certain character, maybe just pull one out of the archetype box, right? I have never used these. They're brand new. I just opened them. But I have a couple of characters. I'm going to talk about this in the second half of the class. We're actually going to plot my book. Yeah, we're going to do that in just a little bit. So these, okay, can be very helpful. There's the femme fatale, right? Okay, and then the gambler, right? All different cards. Sometimes we are so in our heads and we use the same sort of characters and we tell the same sort of stories. So I'm trying to inspire you to look outside of what you normally do for inspiration to freshen things up. I see this all the time. I acquire books from authors, and the problem is I need high concept ideas, which are easy to understand ideas, which have probably been done before because there's a lot of tropes that have been done before, but I need a high concept twist. And there's a possibility that one of the things I show you today might help you with that, right? Another one is my beautiful friend Sasha. I've been talking about, we were in Denver and she bought me these tarot cards, right? And even though I don't know what any of them mean because they're not tarot cards I've ever seen before, the unicorn tarot, I had to have that, right? I can look at the pictures and it gives me ideas. All right, so that's all I'm talking about. Looking at art, things like that. I forgot to bring the painting over I was going to show you that I just bought. But that's what I'm talking about, all right? Going outside. And if you learn something different, it can inspire you to also create something different. Does that make sense? Are you guys with me still? Oh, thanks, Lizzie, for posting all those. Oh, good for you. Journaling is a good way to do that. Thanks for sharing. I was just going to ask I'm going to ask you if you, I'm trying to read your thing, Priya. My kids' homeschool book. I don't know what that means. You'll have to explain more. Oh, thank you, Lizzie. Lizzie just posted Paula's art, and you can go and download those for free. Your kids can color them. You can color them with your kids. You can just color them if you're an adult by yourself. You can do whatever you want. You can paint them, whatever you want to do. All right? It got very dark in my office all of a sudden. We're having really bad weather here today. All right, so tarot cards can help you write your book or inspire your art or whatever you're going to do. All right, that's what I'm talking about. Get outside of your head, get outside of your norm. All right, I don't want to say get out of the box because that's cliche. Oh, thank you, Priya. Okay, my latest YA Arthurian book. Awesome. Lots of good links for you guys in these comments, so make sure you check them out. The trick is when you're doing these creative pursuits is I keep taking my glasses off because I have allergies really bad. And for some reason, the glasses are making something happen. All right. So the trick to just doing any of this is to let your mind go. So here's what I hear from my friends. I've got a book due this week. I don't have time for your silly exercises. Well, first of all, they're not silly. And second of all, if you took 10 minutes and free wrote, you might be writing a little bit faster. Just saying, because like I said last week, you have to get the garbage out, right? You have to get the inspiration in and the garbage out. So let your mind go. Don't judge yourself. I'm not a great artist. It's okay. It's fun for me. And that is all that matters, right? I'm a pretty good writer. Do I write, tales that Reese Witherspoon or Oprah are going to pick up? No, I don't write those kind of books, but I write books that I enjoy, right? Usually they have a happy ending. There may be some dead bodies in there, but But my whole thing today for you is to just please dig deep and get out of yourself and go look at some art online or read a book you would have never read before, right? Just get, how many of you, and I would like honest answers, how many of you tend to read the same genre all the time? It's going to take a little minute for me to see those because, like I said, it's a delay. But and we'll go back over those comments in just a minute. But I want you to let your mind create whatever it wants, even if you're like me and have a book due in 45 days and another book due in 62 days, and you haven't started either of them, right? So yeah, so let your mind go and create. And you know what, guys? As soon as I started doing that, the words started coming to me. True story. All of that started last week. I told you I was very honest about it. I had to do something different. I had to shake it up. Again, I'm the preacher of no excuses. You write when you write. It's a job. You just do it, right? But when you have so many things going on right now, it's a little hard. So I'm saying to you, bring in joy. And I know that sounds touchy feely, whatever, but joy is not a bad thing, right? It's not a negative thing. So it's good to feel better, to look at beauty, to look at flowers. You know what? If you have a rose garden, go take pictures of your flowers and then smell them and sit with them for a minute. You know, your flowers will appreciate it. All right. I'm going to look at some of the comments. Let's see. You read a mix of things. Monica says she's guilty of reading all the same thing. Storm says she tends to navigate towards what she writes, urban fantasy and paranormal romance, right? Get yourself out of that rut. So I always kind of said, except for Jody Thomas, I wasn't really into historicals. But then I got to a point in my life, and it was 2 years ago when things were so tough that I ended up reading historicals and loved them because it's a little bit softer time. Right? A little bit, especially if you're reading in the Regency period and stuff like that. It's very elegant and not overt for the most part. And I needed some of that softness. That's part of the reason why I created Holiday Peak. I needed a place to go, right? Let me see what you guys are saying here. Usually only read romance, but will bounce between genres. Right. No, I don't read just one genre, Candy says. I definitely have moods. Sometimes mystery, sometimes romance, sometimes historical. Right. So I didn't read a lot of mystery. I used to read true crime like 30 years ago when I was a baby. I used to read true crime. And then it got to be too much for me when I had kids because I was constantly worried about my kids and something happening to them. So once I had babies, I sort of got away from the true crime, but I have always liked mysteries. I've always watched shows like Castle and Elementary and Sherlock and Vera and all these shows, right? I always have loved mysteries. Never actually thought about writing one until Harley died. And I'm like, I don't know how to write a mystery. I'm going to figure it out, And so I read a ton of them. But I read all genres all the time. So I'm reading a YA book right now. I'm reading Mythos, and I'm reading this one again, Big Magic. If you're having trouble creating, she gives you permission to just do whatever you want, right? And sometimes that's all we need. And I'm going to give it to you too. Just do what you need to do to create, right? We need to put that positive energy out into the world. So I'm going to give you some personal examples, and only because I'm using my books only because I know what inspired them, right? I don't know what inspired other people's books. I'm sorry. Other than J.K. Rowling, who was inspired by telling her kids stories at night, right? So here are some personal examples of me being inspired. So Charmed and Dangerous, I talked about. That was my very first book that was published by Berkeley, and it's part of a 3-book series. And it started, as I mentioned, with Joss Whedon deciding that it was the last season of Buffy. And I was like, how dare you, Joss Whedon? I'll just write my own story. And so I did. And I decided to pulling from that, right? I decided to do a Dark Willow, but who was not so mean and evil, right? She had to save the world and she protected the British Prime Minister. And that's how that whole story began. Also, I was meeting with an editor the next day, and my friend Britta told me, you need a second book to talk about. And I'm like, but I just wrote a book. And she's like, no, they want to know what else you're working on. And I was like, ah. And so that night in my head, this voice came and she said, and it scared me to death because it had never happened before, my name's Bronwyn, I'm a witch, she protects the British Prime Minister, and you're going to tell my story. And so I did. I wrote that book really fast. So you never know where inspiration is going to come from. I talked about my sweet series, Holiday Peak, and how I just needed an escape for myself. I wrote those stories for me, no one else. It just so happens that it hit a lot of people the same way. Like they want to go back to that world again and again. And I promise you at least 6 more books in that series. Okay. Sometimes you need to shake it up and move your space to inspire yourself. All right. So I want to show you something I did a week ago. Actually, it was last Sunday. I have not been feeling well for months and months. I'm not going to talk about it, but energy levels are really bad right now. And my office looks like a hurricane hit it. And I can't work with all this clutter. Like it drives me crazy. So I cleaned off my desk. It's dirty again today because I've got piles of stuff to show you. But I created a space in my office over in the corner. And I am going to show it to you on a piece of paper because I could not figure out how to do this. You can do slides on this thing. I couldn't figure it out because I'm me. But can you guys see this pretty good? So that's my chaise lounge, right, and my lamp that have been in there. And then those are the Paris pictures I was talking about. And then these are the Mary Poppins glyceals that I was talking about, right? The animation, that's animation cells, right? That's what a glyceel is. So that's my little space, and I can read there. I can take my laptop over there. I can edit. I can write. I can do all sorts of things. And funny enough, it works. Sometimes I work on my living room couch, and I've got a movie on and music on my headphones, and the movie is muted, and whatever works for you, whatever inspires you. If I'm writing YA, I'm going to be really honest. I watch Twilight on repeat with no sound. I get to the kissing scene of the first one, which is one of my favorite kissing scenes in the movie, and I rewind it and watch it all over again because I don't like the Thunder baseball game and all that stuff that comes after. So then I just rewind it and then I watch it again while I'm writing YA. That's what I do. Sometimes, even here at my laptop, I have it's called Fluid Browser, Fluid, Fluid browser. It's an app that can go on your. I don't know if it works on anything but Macs, but so I can put that anywhere on my screen. It's kind of like what I'm doing right now, and I can see the movie up in my corner screen. And I've got my laptop hooked into I think it's 40-inch TV. It's 40-inch TV. And so I can see that movie up there, but no sound on the movie, music in my headphones, and I'm sitting here writing. And my office really is my favorite place to write, although I've taught myself to do it everywhere. But changing up rooms can help inspire you. Go outside. I can't go outside. Things eat me. And so nature hates me, you guys. Like, my husband is even like, just don't go outside anymore. Every time I walk outside, I get a mosquito bite, which here is really bad because you can get what they think I already had, and I can't even think of what it is because it ate my brain away. But you can get all kinds of diseases. Spiders are after me constantly. I love them. I don't know why they want to come after me. I even had a bird hit me in the head the other day. I was outside with a Great Dane trying to throw a frisbee, and this bird just kind of wonked into my head and kept flying. I went inside after that. I was like, I was done. And finally, nature attacked my husband. He went to get the mail in the dark the other day, and a lizard crawled onto his arm. Pretty sure he screamed like a girl, not going to lie. All right, so move your space, change your rooms, go outside. Another great thing that I learned when I was getting my master's, I can't remember, and I apologize if one of my professors are here. I know a lot of them like to look at the writing classes because they love me. I can't remember who it was, but there was one class where we were studying writers and philosophers and people like that. And a lot of them take long walks, right? It inspires them, things they see, even if it's in their own neighborhood. I mean, if you have a fancy garden and you can sit in it, great. If you want to create a fancy garden for me and then put some bug spray on me so I can sit in it, that'd be great. Like I want a vegetable garden. My husband's like, you won't take care of it because you're not going to go outside. He's right. So take long walks. That's a cheap thing to do, right? You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to move anything. But I'm going to tell you, moving that and making myself, that's my little space in the corner of my office. And I'm not bragging, but my office is huge. It's a formal living and dining room, right? It's all mine. It's great. Have a conference table, whole shebang. It looks like a tornado hitter right now, right? I have places for everything. I just haven't put things away because I've been tired. But that creating that space made me want to clean off some other things and sort of snowballed, right? And so it's helping, and it's helping my brain have less clutter around. So think about that, guys. I want to hear about some things that inspire you, but let me look at the comments right now. Lizzie, you're so sweet. Yeah, no new comments. Okay, so I want to hear about things that inspire you or people who inspire you. Maybe you saw a TED Talk that got you rolling, right? I want to hear about it. Put it in the comments. Or if there's a piece of art or music, we talked about that already, but if there's something that really inspires you, please put in the comments and share, because I feel like maybe somebody will see that who had never thought to look at that and will be like, oh, and inspiration will come to us all, right? All right, here's the number one thing. A lot of what inspires us is great, but it won't work unless we have the right attitude, right? And here's Candy Havens talking to you one-on-one right here. You people need a better attitude, right? It's hard to stay positive when the world is crumbling around you. I get it. The world is not going to end. It's going to get better. But right now, it's really hard. And you feel it all. If any kind of artist, you have extra feelings, is what I like to say. You're probably more emotional than your friends. And your husband thinks you're way too emotional, or your wife thinks you're way too emotional, right? And so that's okay. That's okay. It's okay to feel those things. It's okay to funnel those things into what you're writing. It is not okay to sit and wallow, right, in negativity. You have got, and you're responsible for it. You can blame all of this, but you're the one who is responsible for your perspective on the world. So the more beauty and loveliness you put in front of your eyeballs, the better you're going to feel and the better your attitude. Attitude is everything. I talk about this in the fast draft class. You can't write a book in 2 weeks with a bad attitude. It's just not going to happen. So you have to control how you decide to deal with things, right? That's, I know, probably too much psychology for you guys, but I have to tell my husband this all the time. You can get upset about things and you can yell, but that's how you're reacting, and that's what you're teaching our kids and that sort of thing, right? Or you can deal with things as they need to be dealt with a calm manner, and it's not the end of the world, whatever's going on, right? So I know I would like to escape and go to a beach somewhere and have my own little cottage, and yeah, but it doesn't happen. So you've just got to decide right now to just be positive and F everything else, right? I'm going to be really honest with you guys. I'm going to show you something. It's my truth. You know how people say when they're going to be really honest and then that means they're not? I do mean I'm going to be honest. My boss calls me out on that all the time. I'm like, dude, I'm telling you the truth. She's like, yeah, but you put I'll be honest in front of it. And I'm like, yeah, I am being honest. Okay, so I want to show you something that will maybe help you, because a lot of you think you're Candy Havens, you can write a 300-page book. It's almost perfect when you're done, and you can do it in 2 weeks. So why should I listen to you? Because I'm also this Candy Haven. So here, I'm hoping there's nothing too personal on this planner. I told you I use my planner for mostly a thing. But you will see plot third mystery, right? Plot third mystery on the next page. Plot third mystery on the next page. plot, third mystery on the next page. So I'm not so, fast with things as people think. Once I get to it, once I start, I don't stop. But I need a better plan these days. Choose happy. Exactly. Nourish the soul. Travel inspires you. I'm so sorry, Candy. You just went to London for the first time and seeing the castles firsthand was, I bet. Yeah. All the people who lived there, right? And before, and everything that might have happened. I find that very fascinating. I blame my friend Shannon, who Houchin, who taught me the gift of history, right? I was never into history, never really good with history. And then for her birthday, she wanted to take a road trip from North Carolina all the way up to oh gosh, Shannon, I wish you were here. It's somewhere in Connecticut. Brimfield, Massachusetts. That's where we went. We were going to do that antiques fair up there, right? And we did. But going up, we saw a lot of different historical sites and did a lot of, and, went to Williamsburg and all of that. And it was one of the best trips of my life. Like, just learning a little bit of history was so inspiring. And I'm selfish and shallow, and I had no idea how much that was going to help me, and it did a lot. I also had just started my master's classes, so I was freaking out a little on that trip. But seeing all of that helped me deal with what was going on when I got back to the hotel room every night, right? Seeing all that beauty and learning all these interesting facts and how hard life was for some folks just put things in perspective for me. And sometimes that's what we need, right? All right. So I would love to know, did you guys post some stuff about inspiration? Let me go back and look. I'm so sorry we can't travel right now. My first big thing I want to do is go to Paris and just stay there for a month and immerse myself in the language and things that are going on. All right. Well, as we're going on to the second half of the class, where we're going to talk about turning inspiration into plotting and how to make plotting a little bit easier. If you're like me, it's not your favorite thing to do. I like to just sit down and write. But, on Monday, I have to turn in an art sheet for the third book cover of my mystery series. And I should probably know a little summary of the story, right? I sold the series on 3 high concept ideas that were like this long, little paragraphs. Amazing. Like, I can't believe that happened. And I'm so grateful. But now I have to figure out a really great story to tell, right? Because I don't want to disappoint these people or the readers who seem to really love this world. And thank you. If you're reading these books, I'm not going to cry. They are my salvation. They have been for the last couple of months. And over this last year. So I'm so grateful to Jane Porter and Thule for publishing these books because it's a world that I just absolutely love, right? And the town I created, inspired by Round Top and Fredericksburg, and it's in the middle of the two, right? So inspiration comes from everywhere, right? I'm trying to do that so I don't cry because I'm super, super grateful. And that I'm going to have at least 5 books in this series is not lost on me, right? I'm super lucky. I totally get that. All right. So I'm going to try to do this next part because I've already gone over like 20 minutes of what I wanted to do really quickly. So if you have questions, save them for the end. I'd really appreciate that. I got to get a little bit of water. And if you're a different kind of artist, there's some stuff in here that will probably help you. Does get lipstick all over my teeth? Okay. I can't see me, so you guys are going to have to tell me. Okay. Let me see. There's one more note before we get started. Yeah, Candy, I like your thing. I think we need a t-shirt that just says choose happy, right? We need some t-shirts that say that. All right. Now we're going to take some of that inspiration and turn it into a plot or story. Or you could take this and make a painting or whatever your art is, because we have a bunch of different people watching these videos. Everyone from little bitty kids to older adults. Who may look at writing as a hobby. And even if you're journaling, you guys, this can maybe help you get started with ideas. Like sometimes you look at your journal and you're like, it's day 52 of COVID quarantine. I've got nothing to say, right? And so maybe one of these things you could just write how you feel about something, okay? But this is me. I'm going to use one of my own stories because I don't feel comfortable using anyone else's stories. And I'm going to try really hard because I figured all this out. I plotted it this morning. But I figured it all out. And then I'm like, well, how do I do this without telling them what my story is? So I think I've done it. Hopefully I don't reveal too much. Hopefully you'll just, if I do, be kind. Okay. All right. Let me see. There's a couple of things that just popped up. Your dreams inspire you. Oh my gosh, that's happened to me a couple of times. Not every book, but quite a few books. The Demon King and I, and uh, uh, oh my gosh, Dragons Prefer Blondes. Both of those sort of came from dreams. So yeah, I woke up in the middle of the night. I always have a journal by my bed. I wrote in it that night. Could barely read it when I got downstairs the next morning, but yeah. All right. So I'm going to take my inspiration for all of these things and words that I know, and I'm going to loosely plot a book. Are you guys ready? Just shoot me a heart or something. Does anybody have any questions before we get started? You went snowboarding and your newest book is about that. Bless your heart. Yes, I would be scared to death. I did go snowmobiling. This is the most fun I ever had in my life. Not going to lie. Loved it, but I would break something. I'm too old, I think. It looks like fun, but my very young cousin, Kyle, was like, I think he was 18, broke both of his arms snowboarding, so I'm very afraid. But he's a daredevil. So he was probably doing some huge loop or something, knowing Kyle. He's my cousin that runs 100-mile races. All right, so we're ready to roll. Okay, so here I'm going to use my current WIP or WIP or work in progress, right? So we have all levels of writers here. I have simplified this as much as possible because I think, and I'm one of those people who I would rather write a book than a synopsis. And shoot me a heart or thumbs up if you're the same, because I would rather write a book than a synopsis. It's just easier for me. But these days we need to make sure we have high concept ideas, right? And so being able to boil that story down, and I have a whole high concept class planned for you guys. I think it's 3 classes, 3 Saturdays from now. And so thanks guys. So I have that planned for you. Oh God, I keep saying like 50 times. I'm sorry about that. So here's how we're going to start. I'm just letting you know, I try to simplify the process. So those of you who have been writing a while, you'll be like, duh, but it might help you look at things a little differently. And if you're having trouble figuring out your book or what your book should be, maybe this will help. Okay, so here's how you start, and I'm going to use my current book. I also have a thing called the book map, but it's one of my paid classes, and people pay to take that class, so I don't feel free sharing it for free. But if you want to take that class, let me know, and we'll get you settled. But that's really, the book map is for when you're serious, when you've got what I'm about to tell you down and you figured everything out and you just need to plot the trajectory of your book. That's hard for me to say. Okay, so maybe you're not there yet. Maybe you just have loose ideas of what your book is. And this was me this morning, like 6 hours ago. And this is a trick for your brain when you are having any kind of writing troubles, okay? You just want to play around with ideas first. So, like I said, I just signed this 3-deal book, right? Three book deal, and a lot more mysteries, and they're going to come out every couple of months. So I've got to get on the ball and start writing again. And when you edit for 16 hours a day, like I do, sometimes it's hard to work on your own stuff. But that's just an excuse, right? I have plenty of time on the weekends to work. So, and that's when I do the majority of my fast drafting is on the weekends. So I sold those on the high concept of the book, as I told you, and I have to figure out a synopsis for this art sheet that I have to turn in on Monday. So it forced me into, starting to create. Here's how it all began. The publisher wants a Christmas book for the next book. done. I love writing Christmas books. Like if every book I ever wrote could be a Christmas book, I'd be fine with it. Like I love the holidays. I love everything about the holidays. I love my family being together. I love all of that, right? So that's not hard for me. Okay, it's going to be a Christmas book. Now I know scenes in a Christmas book, you're going to need maybe a Christmas festival. It's set in Texas, so there's not any snow, especially down there. But there's a Christmas festival, maybe a Santa Land. The series is already set up. So Ainsley McGregor, who is the woman who does all the detective stuff, even though she's not a detective, she owns a store called Bless Your Art. And it's sort of an artisanal art gallery store, right? So there's wine and cheeses and cookies and things like that, but also art and crafts and things like that. And it's this huge kind of market thing inside this big building. And so I know that I'm going to be using that cast of characters, right? That's something else I know about my book without having to think about anything much. All right. I know because it's a mystery, I'm going to have a dead body scene where George, her dog, George Clooney, her dog, finds the dead body, right? It's in every book so far. It's going to be in this one. George is going to find the body somewhere weird, okay? And it's going to be a weird, quirky scene because my mysteries are funny. And while finding dead bodies is not funny, unless you're dark and weird like me, it will have some sort of humorous aspect to the dead body. Okay? All right. I don't know how to say that without telling you what it is. But when I was writing that, I was like, oh, I know what I can do and who it's going to be. So I need that person, that's character, right? And so I need to know about him. What do I need to know about him? And who is he? And how does he come into this world? And, he's an outsider. People don't notice this, but most of my dead bodies are outsiders. And I do that on purpose because I'm not going to kill anybody in that sweet little community because I love them all too much. All right. But strangers, I don't have a problem killing them. All right. So the first suspect needs to be someone who's close to my protagonist. That's what a cozy mystery is, right? She's a friend or a family member or somebody she knows who needs her help. So that first suspect, I know I'm going to need a scene with that, right? And her going to then her brother, a scene with her brother who's the sheriff, and to her friend who is the medical examiner, right? And then she's probably going to head to the coffee shop to talk about it with her friend Shannon, or her friend Shannon is going to come out and help her decorate her house. Do you see what's happening? Like these scenes, and then I write everything down as it's, what I know I need. This is the structure that I know I need in my book. Here are some scenes that might play into that. And so that's what I'm trying to make you guys understand. Like as you start this process, very easily, very softly, gently, you're not forcing your brain to really think that hard. We're just writing down the scenes that we kind of know need to be in the book, right? All right. So my protagonist has to care about whoever the first suspect is. I have an idea that of who the suspect is. I'm going to call him D. And then I'm just going to say it's going to make my dad really happy. Because I love her in my books. My mom and my dad and my grandmas. Yeah, they're all in there. So she'll need to talk to her brother and the sheriff and the medical examiner, as I said. Then she'll need scenes where she's digging into the clues, right? It's a mystery. Got to have clues. Got to find stuff out. Got to have red herrings. So I know that I don't have any specifics right now. Although I did think of some after doing this exercise, right? Of what it is. And then I know that whoever the dead body, the victim is, in his backstory, he had a different occupation. And then as I was writing this, I was like, he's doing this job and he's killed doing this job, but he's hiding from his old job. Right? And so whatever that was, and it's not going to be an accountant for the mafia because that's boring and overused, but something like that, right? That's what I wrote in my notes. Not this, but something like this, right? So I know that he's hiding from bad people. But I don't know about those bad people right at the beginning of the book. So these are, again, just scenes I know that are gonna have to be in my book. So scenes in the artisanal market where we're, we have discussions about with her friends, because it's kind of a Scooby-Doo team that solves these crimes. Like, she gets a lot of help because she's not a trained detective. She's a very bright woman and she has a sense for things. But she gets a lot of help from the townspeople. That's what I feel like makes my mysteries a little different, is because there are so many characters who come into this. That help her solve the crimes, because she's not trained. Like, I think it's dumb for, someone to act like a trained detective when they're not. They can have instincts. I think we all have instincts, but I'm very much, as she solves one case after another, she's going to get better and better at it, just like you would, So her first case is very messy. Second case, super messy. A case for the yarn maker. You guys, oh my gosh, that's so much fun. And just so you know, there are characters in that book that might be actresses I've had diva stuff to deal with. Just saying, that I may have interviewed. Not going to say names. All right. So I also know that I'm going to need a midpoint high, like she thinks she's figured it out. And then right after that, bad guys are going to start closing in, right? So she realizes she's wrong. She feels, inept. The person she thought can't possibly be the one, right? And all these red herrings that we've laid down, like, each one gets worse and worse and worse until she has no idea who the killer is, right? It's just absolutely no idea who the killer is. So I'll need to also have, and this is something a little different, not everyone will need this, a B story. So my B story involves a young man who is doing something that is criminal, that Ainsley finds out about, and is Christmas related. That's all I'm going to give you. And so that B story is also going on. So that's more scenes where, things are happening. I'm not going to get specific. Sorry. I'm really trying not to tell you my story. All right. And so then I'll need a black moment where, she figures it out, but it's too late and she's probably about to die, right? This has happened before. And so she finds herself in the same place and can't believe she's done it again. And the killer is trying to kill her. That's the black moment. And so I know what that moment is in this book. It came to me as I was doing this exercise. So I put it in parentheses, and I wish I could show you, but I'm not, because I'm not going to tell you what happens in my book. All right. And then there'll need to be some sort of confession scene, right? We're doing a mystery, so then you have to sort of find out how all the players and how it all worked out, right? I just realized I'm sort of flashing you guys. Sorry about that. A little too much of a view. All right, and then I'll need a conclusion, which will be happy, because I like all of my books to have happy endings. And then I will also have to tie up all my loose ends, right? So the B story will have to be tied up and all of that. So these are all the kinds of scenes I know I'm going to need. Then, and I'm not going to go into that because I can't possibly do that without telling you my whole book. And I'm not going to do that, especially, just not. In a place where everybody could, my book will come out before I can get my book out, right? So I will definitely have to have a really good, powerful, fun ending that will make people want to go and buy that next book, right? Okay. So that's the end of that. I want to give you an idea of ways you can plot your story. So you can use these tarot cards. There's a whole book about this. Carol, oh my gosh, Carol, I can't think of your last name. Can't think of mine either, so it's okay. But she teaches a whole class on how to plot with tarot cards, right? You can use those archetype cards to help you with your characters. And then I'm gonna draw. Hold on. Oh, let's see if I can find a pen. All right. One of my ways that I finally, because I used to be a pantser, which is I sat down and wrote something, right? And in the beginning with Berkeley, I only had to write like a little. They bought the first book. They read the whole first book. Books after that, the 5 books after that, I only had to write like a paragraph, maybe this long. And I sold the books, right? So then I sort of had to figure them out. And then I went to Harlequin, and Harlequin wanted a 5-page synopsis, so I had to figure it out. All right, so I'm going to show you the easiest way to list your scenes. And my friend, I think Mark Henry, oh my gosh, he's so brilliant and so funny. If you don't follow him on Instagram, you should. He's hilarious and a very great writer. I don't know if he's writing right now, but he should. So I'm drawing an arc or an arch. You can call it either one. It's both. And then I'm putting tick marks. And so I would put tick mark. Can you guys see that okay? I know it's very white, and you see what I did? Okay, it's just an arch. Is that better lighting wise? You guys will have to tell me. So each tick is going to be a scene. So I'm going to write Christmas festival here. So I know what that scene is. That's the first scene I'm going to write. Is it going to be the first scene in the book? I don't know. It might not be. So each tick, and then what happens is as I go along, I think of other scenes. As I write a scene, I'm like, oh, I need to have a scene with la la la. So I do another tick and I write it that way. My friend Jamie Harrington, you can do a search for this, has a, I messed with the pile on the side of my desk and it tried to fall down and hurt me. The Storysaurus, like she has that, and like there's tons of different plotting books and ways to plot and storyboard and all that. It's too hard for me. I don't like it. I like to just sit down with my notebook and look at the scenes I need and do that. I do that arch to sort of keep things organized sometimes, but that's it. Or I use my book map. Okay. All right. That's it for today. I would like to tell you a couple of things. We will have another class next Saturday. One of the biggest tips I can give you, if you get stuck with your book, is something I teach in Fast Draft, which is to just write the next thing you know. I will be doing this whole book this way. I know how this book ends. I'm not so sure about some of the middle parts, so I will probably write the ending first. My first 5 books I wrote chronologically, did perfectly good job, pantsed them right out. But when I moved to Harlequin, that's when I started writing sort of all over the place because I needed to figure out the ending before I could figure out page 3. So that's in my Fast Draft class. I'm not going to talk about it a whole lot here. And you can get to those classes through my website. And so just write the next thing you know, whether you're listing your scenes, just write down the scenes you need to know, and keep going and keep going and keep going. All right. So sometimes your brain really does need to figure out what's on page 300. So you might only have the ending of your book in your head, but I promise you, once you write it down, you're going to be able to figure it out. So don't forget, a case for the yarn maker, and I'm telling you this because my publicist says I never publicize my own books. So a case for the case for the yarn maker. This is what happens when you use same sort of titles. Is out this Thursday, friends. And if you want to shout it to your friends on social media, I would be super grateful. I will do the same for you if you message me and let me know. You can message me on Instagram or Facebook or even Twitter, and I will help you out. Thank you, Lizzie. There are paid classes also on my website, CandiceHavens.com. Will take you to Teachable, where I have Fast Draft and Revision Hell, things like that. If you watch the first video, skip the first 9 minutes where I'm trying to figure out how everything works and I didn't cut the video and now YouTube won't let me take it down and fix it. If somebody knows how to do that, I'd be super grateful. Also, there's a group attached to my author page, this page that you're on right here. There's Candice Havens group, and we are gearing up to, sort of inspire and encourage one another. We haven't had a lot of participation. My hope is that people will transfer to that group. It's a Facebook group. I know a lot of you may not be on Facebook, but I really want to use that as an opportunity to encourage us constantly, right? And once you see someone is writing or they're on page whatever, we know this, Priya knows from our Fast Draft class, that it sort of snowballs and everybody starts being successful. So that's my hope, is that we can sort of transfer all of this to that group and encourage one another, because we all need encouragement right now. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me. I know this was a very long class today, but I hope you got a ton of information out of it. And I want to give you permission to go and create. Do what art, whatever makes you feel good, people. And then I want you to take a picture. If it's your book, just screenshot the title or something. If it's artwork, post a picture for us. I would really love to see these things. It's my hope that this is a gift for you, that you feel inspired by the time we're done to just go and do your thing, right? I'm giving you permission to just go and do your thing. All right. I'm going to take some questions here right at the end. So if you have something, you need to post it now because it takes a minute to get to me. And then I'm going to do that for like 3 minutes and then we'll be done. All right. Thank you guys again. I really appreciate you hanging out with me. All right. Who do we have in here? Lizzie has posted all sorts of stuff for you guys. She got you to the Facebook group, to my website. All right, I'm going to wait just a minute. Do you guys have any questions about anything we talked about today or anything I can help you with creatively with your books or your, I don't know if I can help you with art, but I could try. Anything? I felt bad because last week I closed it really quickly and then people were like, I sent you a question, you didn't answer. I was like, oh, I didn't know there was a delay. So if you're using Zoom or I'm using Ecamm, just know that from when you post your comments to when the moderator or person doing the video sees it is about a minute. All right, I'm still not seeing anything. Thank you guys for all the hearts and thumbs up. And I will post these. They'll be on my pages and also on YouTube. But again, if you watch that first video, please skip the first 9 minutes of me trying to figure things out. All right. Well, I'm not seeing anything, so I'm going to call it done. If you do have questions, you can message me. I do work 16-hour days, so it's hard for me to do a lot of on-site stuff, but I will help you if I can. Oh, thanks, Priya. Thank you. Thanks for hanging out with us. And I hope you come away from any of these classes with some tools that will help you creatively. Oh, Rainy, thank you. Thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. You guys are the best, and I wish you all the success. And I will have another video. I am trying to remember, I should probably write these things down. I think the next video is characterization. Okay? So if you want to write, no. Next video is deep POV and for all types of art, which I think will help writers if they understand a POV in a painting, how to write deeper POV. It is my number one pet peeve that books aren't deep POV. So we'll be talking about that next week. Oh, thanks, Tammy. Thanks, Candy. Oh, Lindsay. Oh. Yeah, Lindsay, I would love to write some more paranormal romances. I love that genre. I have some YAs under Mackenzie McGuire that we're going to finish out next year. So I will have some more. I just won't have any more in the Charmed and Dangerous series. Sandra, you are welcome. Do you use a mystery beat sheet template? No, I do not. It might be helpful. Is there one? Can you put a link in for me? I just make stuff up as I go along, Priya. You should know that by now. But yeah, if you know of one, let me know. I just know what needs to be in a mystery, and I only know that because I have watched a good 1,200 hours of television mysteries. In fact, I'm rewatching Elementary and Sherlock at the same time. Elementary with my husband and Sherlock when he goes to bed. All right, gang. Well, thanks again. I'm sending love and hope and inspiration to you guys, right? May you be inspired just by the goodness that is around you and the beauty that you see. My love to you, and come back and see us next week. Bye, guys.